All right. All right. So I'll get us started. Um, Welcome everyone to Flatline. I'm your host, Flat McLean, and today we are going to learn about who is Mike Thurlow. So I have Mike Thurlow on the line with us today. If you don't mind, Mike, go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself and just introduce yourself. Who are you?
Sure, thanks. Well, my name is Mike Thurlow. I'm 66 years old. I live in a little town in the state of Maine, a little country town, and I'm a lifelong logger. That's been my occupation throughout my lifetime. I cut trees for a living, and I enjoy a lot of outdoor activities, and I like to live in the country, and I've done a little bit of farming in my lifetime also. I like to hunt and fish, and do those kind of things. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm married, and between my wife and I, we've raised 8 children, and spent a lifetime of service in the church and serving other people in different ways. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing about yourself. So Lee, Maine. You don't usually hear a lot of people from Maine. So I think we're kind of bridging that gap now. We're kind of welcoming you into the United States. Welcome.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of history in New England and Maine that built America. A lot of people went west from New England. So Maine is a great state. It's cold here in the wintertime, very cold, a lot of snow. We have a kind of a short growing season in the summer, but it's really a great place to be and live. And I've lived here my whole life, and actually in the same town almost all of my life, except for a few months that I lived in a town nearby. So
Wow.
it would be pretty hard for me to leave the state of Maine and go live somewhere else, and I probably won't at my age. I probably will stay right here. That's my plan anyway. So
Wow.
yeah.
So you worked out in the fields. You worked out in the woods. Tell me a little bit about logging. I heard you said you did some logging and stuff.
Yeah. Well, so in the state of Maine, we have a lot of trees. In fact, we have about 20 million acres of forested woodland in the state of Maine.
Wow.
And it's a huge industry. We've been logging in this state way over 200 years. It's a renewable resource. We harvest the trees in a sustainable fashion. And so when I got out of high school, going on to college was not an opportunity that I really had in my life. So I entered the workforce, and I ended up going into the woods and became a logger. I already had some experience with my father growing up. We did some logging on the family farm here, and so it was a pretty easy transition for me to just log full time. And when I was young and a lot of energy, I was pretty good at it. Now I'm not so good at it because I'm getting old, but it's been a way that I've made a living and been able to raise a family. And so logging in Maine, as I said, is a big industry. We have a lot of paper mills, a lot of sawmills that use the trees and create lumber products or paper products for everyone to use. And we actually found out here several months ago how important toilet paper is, and that's where it comes from, is from trees. And so that's just one of the, I'm at the in the woods harvesting the trees and those trees are used for products that are sold to society. And it's a fairly dangerous occupation. It's not easy to do. It takes a lot of physical exertion to be able to perform my work, and I've been blessed with good health all my life, so I've been able to do that. And
wow.
So yeah, so logging is a big deal in Maine. Yeah.
So did you find out that your occupation was needed more during the COVID times than before?
No, not really. No, the ripple didn't come back that far. It was kind of a supply thing near on the other end of the process. But as far as cutting trees, there was, it didn't ripple back that far, if that makes sense.
Yep, it does. So since you were out logging, and that's kind of you're an expert in this, what would you say is, if you were to give someone an understanding of a typical day for logging, what does that look like?
Okay, well, a typical day for logging for me I get up early every morning and have a breakfast and other things, and I'm out the door fairly early and drive to the work site, wherever that is. And it could be just a few miles away, or it could be 50 miles away, wherever the logging site is. So you get to the logging site and get your equipment started, your chainsaw sharpened, and you commence cutting trees. And that the job site's laid out, so you know what trees you're going to harvest, what trees you're going to leave to grow, and you just start your work and cut trees, and then drag those trees out. We have a machine we call a skidder. It's a big 4-wheel drive tractor is what it is, with a winch on the back, and we hook those trees up to the winch and pull them out of the woods to a road where later those trees, logs, can be loaded on a truck and hauled to a mill somewhere. Wow. And so that's my day, is that I continually go back and cut more trees and drag them out with a skidder and push them up into a pile. And I've been doing that for about 45 years. So
is that something that you find joy or pleasure in, or is that just something that you just kind of fell into?
Well, probably I should say maybe a little of both. I do take great pride in my work. To be a good logger and be successful at it, be able to make money at it, to make a living, I take a lot of pride in that. In a job that's well done, and that we do it in a sustainable fashion, so that there are still trees growing after the harvest is done. There's still some trees there, smaller trees, that will grow into big trees. And but I did kind of fall into it. I didn't have a great plan when I finished school. I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life for work. And as I mentioned, I didn't have the chance to go on to higher education and maybe get a better or different job. So there was lots and lots of opportunities to log back then, and even now. It was a big workforce when I went into it, about 10,000 loggers in the state of Maine. There's less now for different reasons, but so I just kind of fell into that, but I found that I enjoyed it. I'm paid by the amount of wood trees that I'm able to cut each day. I'm not paid by the hour. So it's a production thing, and when you get good at it, you can make pretty good money. And so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed being outside, but it's a hard occupation. There are a lot of things that cause it to be a difficult occupation as well. When your equipment breaks down, when there's poor weather that you can't work in, and so forth. So there's some downsides to it, but it's been pretty steady work most of my life, and so I've stayed with it. So,
wow, that's impressive. Has any of your children fallen or family fallen into this occupation at all, or?
No. I think especially I have two sons. My youngest son, I think, thought some about it as he was growing up. But I made both of my sons do some logging with me, and I tell this story many times, that I made them work in the coldest days of the winter and the hottest days of the summer. I took them into the woods and made them work, so that they would see this isn't really a picnic, and they would think twice about, if they still wanted to do it after I put them through that, then they really had a love for the work. If they didn't enjoy it, then they probably should move on and find a different career. And both of my sons have done that, and have. So there was a method. They got the message. There was a method in my madness, and if they had wanted to come into the business with me, that would have been great. But I didn't expect them to, and so no, none of my family have followed in the direction that I went. So,
okay. So looking at your life now, would you say that you are successful?
Yeah, I would in my own mind, yes. And you're asking me, so my answer is yes. But to some, probably they would say no. I'm not wealthy, and I've only made a living, and that's it. I don't have a bunch of money in the bank, and maybe like a doctor or a lawyer might have if they've had a successful career. So it's kind of hard to measure that, but in my own mind, yes, I've been successful, because I've actually seen a lot of loggers throughout my career that go into the logging business, and they don't last very long. They only last a few years, or and different things happen, and they go out of the business because they can't make it. And so the fact that I've been able to do it for 45 years, and you have breakdowns that cost money to repair equipment and so forth, and you have to save money for those when those breakdowns come. And so I think I've been successful in managing my business. Even I'm a very small logging operation, but this principle is the same if I had 20 men working for me, or if I'm a single operator, like is what I am, a single operator. And so you have to put some money aside in order to continue to operate the business. And that one thing right there causes a lot of businesses to fail, because they don't have any rainy day money. And so on that, yes, I can answer that I have been successful. I'd like to retire, so maybe I didn't plan good enough for retirement, because I'd like to retire, but I've got to keep working a few more years, But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wish and hope the best for you on that venture as well.
Yeah.
Another question for you. So you've lived in Maine, and you've lived some very unique experiences, it sounds like. What would you say is the most challenging experience you've had?
Most challenging. Well, I would say that it would have to do with my family and relationships, which was the most challenging. It's really too personal to talk about in
Understood.
a venue like this, but work is good and all of that, but when it comes down to family, that's so important. Everything else takes a back seat. Family is first, and to go through some really tough family relationships is the hardest thing that I've had to deal with in my life, for sure.
Yeah. Have you been able to come out in a more meaningful way, or are those things still kind of ongoing?
I think in a more meaningful way. I'm still learning about life and living and so forth. But I think there's still things that need to be resolved in family relationships. But I feel like I'm in a much better place than I was at one time in my life with family relationship issues. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. We do respect your privacy, and
Sure.
so I do understand that. So thank you.
Yeah.
So if we take it on the flip side, what would you say would be the most rewarding experience you've experienced?
Yeah. That I've had so many. It's hard to pick one, but it's rewarding to see your own children be successful. That's for sure. That's really great. I think I've had a lot of rewarding experiences in serving other people. And that's just something that my wife and I have done for a long, long while. Recently, I'll tell you this quick story if it's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Just before Christmas, I learned from a friend. You actually know him, Jay Crocker.
Okay. Yeah.
I was talking to Jay one night at the fire station, and he mentioned that my neighbors up the road here, that the whole family had COVID, and this was about 2 weeks before Christmas. And so I decided, hey, I'm gonna send a text to my neighbor. His name is Corey. Didn't know if he would respond or not, but I sent a text to him. Hey, I heard you got COVID. Is there anything we can do for you? And the next day he answered me back, and he's like, he said, yeah, we're really, really sick, the whole family, and they've got 4 kids and 1 on the way.
Wow.
And a young family. And but he said, I think we're okay. We're going to be okay. We just got to ride this out. And I said, really? I said, there's got to be something we can do for you. And so he got back to me. He said, well, we're so sick we can't really get out of bed, and the kids are hungry. Could you cook some food or something? That would be helpful. And so my wife, as you know, she's a great cook, and she made a soup and some other stuff, and I took it up and dropped it off. No contact. I just left it on the porch, and then I called him and said, hey, there's some food here, and so that helped them a lot. And I kept checking with him every day. Are you getting any better? And he said, yeah, slowly we're getting better. So then it was only a few days before Christmas, and I'm talking to my wife, and I said, you know what? That family is not going to have a Christmas because they've been sick. They're not going to have a Christmas. So Elaine said, we're going Christmas shopping.
Wow.
And so we went, and we bought them some, just especially the kids, puzzles and books and stuff like that, and took them up and dropped them off so that they could have a Christmas. And they thanked us, Corey texted me and he said, you guys shouldn't have done this, but thank you very much, So that was great. We were happy. Christmas come and went. A couple weeks went by, and they were all healthy now, and they called one night, can we come visit? Yeah, we're right here. So they all come. He brought his whole family. Come visit, and they brought us gifts. We didn't expect anything, but they brought us gifts and food, and she had made some special bread and stuff, the wife, and they just come in and thanked us and visited with us for a while. It was just great. It was unbelievable. We didn't expect anything in return,
Yeah.
And so that just brought us so much joy, and we try to do stuff like that, and so those are great experiences for us. So then I got the idea. I carved the kids a bear.
Oh, that's special.
Yeah.
Did you use your chainsaw?
I used the chainsaw, and I carved the bear and took it up to him. As you know, I carve bears, and I took that up to him a couple weeks later, and the kids just loved it. So we have this great relationship with this young family, and we love them, and it's fun. So those opportunities that you take to reach out and serve somebody, especially when they need it, is very rewarding sometimes. And this is one of those cases that it was.
That's special. Thank you for sharing that. I know that this family will enjoy your associations up there.
Yeah.
Typically what I do before we close, I ask 2 questions. And the 2 questions that I ask are, what have you learned about yourself? And what do you hope people learn about you or from you?
What have I learned about myself? Oh, wow. I'm not sure how to really answer that. Sometimes I don't like myself. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't like yourself.
That's true.
Yeah, it is. I don't know how to really answer that. What I've learned about myself, I think I've got some, endurance. When I do something, I do it the best I can, and I stick with it. I make my own decisions most of the time. So whatever they are, I'm going to have to live with the decisions that I make, and but I see things through. So I like that about myself. If I say I'm going to do something, I will do it, and even if it's not a lot of fun, but.
Yep.
So I think I think I've learned that I can be trusted, to do things and see them through and do them the best that I can. So, and what I would hope that people would learn about me is, every day is a new day. Full of new experiences, new challenges, and those challenges can be difficult, but every day is really a gift to us, I think, and just try your best at whatever you do, and good things will happen if we just keep trying our best. And you get to meet people and make new friendships, like with you. I mean, what's the chances of our paths would ever cross in this life?
Very slim.
But they did,
They
and
did.
so you embrace that. You embrace every opportunity, whatever it is, and just move forward and see what each day can bring you. Even amongst all of the challenges that we have in life and the crazy things that are going on in the world all the time, whatever your circle is, wherever you spend your time each day, just give it your all, and you'll be amazed at how good things go and how many blessings you get in your life. It's really amazing. And I've lived a long while, so I'm not 90 years old, but I'm not 20 years old either, or 30 years old. I've lived a long while, and I've seen a lot, and I've experienced a lot. But if you just try your best, you'll be amazed at what great things happen in your lifetime. And that's what I hope people would know about me.
That's power, and I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing those thoughts.
Yeah.
Something that I know that I've learned about you is you're just very genuine, and I know that the things that you do and the things that you say come through experience and time and wisdom, and so it's very, very nice and neat to hear some of those things that you say is some of those that I've thought of. So that's really, really special to think about. So is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close today that I might not have mentioned?
Yeah, let me just talk about the marathon for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead. So what's the marathon? Tell me about the marathon.
Okay. Well, you know some of it. So I think sometimes in your life you have to take a chance, and not like a chance jumping off a tall building or something without a parachute, but a chance that's safe. I think you have to do that once in a while. And so 5 years ago, I entered a half marathon that's run here in Maine. Actually, basically in the wintertime, early December. And I ran as a logger, because I am a logger, and carrying a chainsaw, and all for a great cause, to raise money for a Make-A-Wish Foundation to help our young children that live amongst us in our communities who have life-threatening illnesses. And so it was just a crazy idea, but it really the best crazy idea I've ever had in my life. And I took the chance with this crazy idea to run in my logging gear, carrying a chainsaw to raise money. And I was actually worried that I might not be able to finish. I might not be able to do that. 13 miles. But I was willing to risk. The worst that was going to happen was that I'd make a fool of myself. It wouldn't hurt anybody else, but I might make a fool of myself. And so I'm like, I'm going to go for it, and I did. And this was one of those, taking a chance, a crazy idea that turned out just super well. The first year I was able to raise a ton of money, and I didn't realize that how much attraction that it was going to that it was going to bring for me to do such a crazy thing. Nobody likes to run with a chainsaw, and I did it. So now, 5 years later, I've done it 4 times. I've run that same marathon 4 times with a chainsaw. And even better yet, I've convinced other people to do the same thing, to carry a chainsaw. So, I just, it's kind of like throwing a rock in the pond and the ripples.
Yep.
So I threw one rock, and look at the ripples that it created. And now every year we raise several $1,000s for young kids and their families, and that's a great feeling. And so it was the best crazy idea I ever had in my life. It was worth the risk, and unfortunately I'm kind of crippled now. I have a back and a hip that don't want to work right anymore, so I can't run the race anymore. But the good news is that my teammates are going to keep doing it, even though this was my last year. Back in December, I ran it my last time, but I never dreamed that crazy idea would turn into something this great and this positive. And you participated 1 year. You didn't carry a chainsaw, but you ran the race, and you know how tough it is.
That crazy idea rippled to me.
Yeah. I
did run.
I wished I'd started it when I was younger, but the opportunity comes, so I embraced it. And that's what you have to do with life. When the opportunities come, you embrace them. And the worst that could have happened was that first year that I couldn't finish, and that would have been an embarrassment to me, but only me. And I was willing to take that risk, and it paid great dividends and blessed the lives of a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sure there's plenty of stories you can share about those experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's beautiful and special, and I did appreciate participating, though I didn't carry the chainsaw to run. Just watching your determination to do it was just phenomenal, and I thank you for your support in helping those children of the Make-A-Wish Foundation and other foundations that it supports. You're their hero, and that's really special.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Well, thank you for spending time with me today. We're going to close up this conversation with Mike Thurlow. If any of you watching liked what you heard, please make some comments below on the channel, and maybe we can get Mike on and he can share a couple more of his stories. Or if you'd like to join us to share your story, we are more than welcome to entertain you today. Go ahead and subscribe, and then we'll talk to you then. Thank you, everyone. Bye.